Hello, everyone. Eric from Helps Law Firm for Seniors and Disabled Persons, June 18th, 2025. Glad to have you here. My name is Eric Olsen, attorney for 46 years, the founder of Helps. Helps is a national law firm that represents seniors and disabled persons who owe debt they can't afford to pay. The title for today is going to be Seniors in a Financial Pickle. Okay. The reason I picked that as the topic or as the highlight for today is because of what someone sent us. Um, Someone wrote in and they said, I would like to learn more. I'm in a financial pickle. And, I haven't heard that for a while. Uh, but if you're in a financial pickle, please listen to what we talk about today. I think we've got answers for you, and you're going to feel a lot better after we talk. Okay? If you have questions, you can put it in the chat feature. I'll try to address those, and if you don't get the answer, you can always call us toll free 855-435-7787. We have paralegals and attorneys standing by. I think we're probably the only law firm in the nation that does what we do. And what we do is we represent seniors who owe debt they can't afford to pay in order to stop the debt collectors from bothering them anymore, from calling them on the phone or sending them demand letters. And then we educate seniors how they can maintain their financial independence. And that's one reason we have these YouTube live videos every Monday through Thursday. Okay? Um, so we want to welcome you. Um, um, so if you're in a pickle, talk to us. Now, let me tell you why you don't need to worry about things. And if you've been a regular on our videos, you'll know what I'm going to say. But, you know, first off, your Social Security, your pension, your disability, your VA benefits, almost all forms of retirement are protected by federal and state laws, which means it can't be taken from you. Even if you owe a debt, even if someone would sue you and get a judgment, they can't garnish your Social Security or your pension or your disability or your VA benefits or your IRA. And then there's state laws that protect your assets. They're not going to repossess your home. They're not going to take your home. Not going to take your car. They don't do it. Okay. Now, if someone got a judgment, it's possible they could try to garnish your bank account. However, first they'd have to sue you, then they'd have to get a judgment, then they have to know where you're banked. But then if that happens, there's a federal rule that went into effect back in 2012 that tells banks that twice the amount of any federal benefit you get, such as Social Security, twice that sum is automatically protected by your bank from garnishment, regardless of where the funds came from that are in your bank account. So if you got, let's say, 1,200 in Social Security each month, and you deposit that in your checking account, gets deposited in your checking account automatically by the Social Security Administration. 1,200 times 2 would be $2,400 in your account is protected by your bank from garnishment. Even if the money in the account, if there's some other monies in there, as long as the balance is less than 2,400. Now, if you had more than that in there, you can file what's called a challenge to garnishment or claim of exemption and get the money released. We help people do that, but most of the time people will tell me, Eric, I have never had more than twice the amount of my Social Security in my account. So that's the important message to get out of the way at the beginning, okay, to let you know. We don't turn anyone away. People that pay helps pay a very minimal amount, maybe 1 out of 6 or 7 of our clients get our help for free. We don't turn anyone away that needs our help. And we represent you ongoing. It's not just one time. When you enroll in helps, you're a client literally forever. So that means if you've got a new collection notice, 6 months, in fact, I talked to someone, I don't know if it was this morning or whatever. It could have been yesterday. And um, she got a new collection notice. And I said, well, the reason you got, she said, well, why did I get this? And I said, well, because you enrolled just a couple months ago, and we sent letters to all your creditors that you owe money to, but now this one creditor turned it over to a new collection agency. And now you need to get us that information. We'll send a cease and desist letter out to that new collection agency, and they're going to leave you alone. Oh, and she said, oh, okay, I understand. So if you enroll in helps and you get a new notice from a new different debt collector or someone you forgot about it, you get that information to us. We send them what's called a cease and desist letter. See, in 1978, the year I graduated from law school, a law was passed called the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. And that provides if you're represented by an attorney, debt collectors can no longer call or send demand letters anymore. They have to leave you alone. Okay? So that's what we do. When you enroll in helps, you give us the collectors you owe money to. We send them out a cease and desist letter. Our goal is to do that within 24 to 48 hours, and then they get that letter and they're going to not bother you. Now, it is possible you could get sued, um, but it doesn't matter. If you're sued, we send a letter to the attorney. You get us a copy of the lawsuit. We just need the first 3 or 4 pages normally. And then we send a letter to the attorney who sued you, letting them know that your income is protected, that you can't afford to pay the debt, not going to pay the debt, and get a judgment that can't collect from you. And we remind them of the protected nature of your bank account too. So, and then we call you on the phone, explain why you don't need to go to court, why you don't need to worry. And, we don't give legal advice. We give legal information here at Helps. And information we have is basic and will help answer your questions, so you don't need to worry. Okay. What's my background? I probably filed 30 to 40,000 bankruptcies before I started Helps. Helps was started in 2012 because so many seniors couldn't afford bankruptcy, didn't need to file bankruptcy, but the creditors would call them and make their lives miserable. And so what Helps is a way that seniors can be protected from harassment, collector harassment. Okay, you get peace back to your life. You don't have to worry about the bills. And then the other nice thing about Helps is you can call us at any time if you have a question, if you're worried or scared, because we don't want you to be worried or scared. And if you are worried or scared, please call. Judy says Helps always has the answers. Well, I think we probably do. I mean, obviously we don't know everything, but in this area, we're pretty good at what we know. Okay. Farmhouse asks, what do they do if they can't levy your account? Do they eventually write it off? Uh, They probably wrote it off before they even sued you, technically. Um, yeah, they just go away. There's nothing for them to do. Can't get blood out of a stone. If all your income is protected, they can't squeeze you for the debt. There's nothing they can really do. Okay. They may try doing something a year or two down the road, or try. And if that's one reason it helps, our assistance is ongoing, because sometimes creditors will contact you a year, 2, 3, or 4 years down the road, and then if you have a question or concern, you contact us. Okay, and we'll answer your question and take care of the problem. Okay, so Ms. H asks, when a senior has work done on their home by a business, makes payments, and then the person passes away, that person, by signing on a contract for payments, will the house uh, have clean on it, maybe have a levy on it, or have a, a lien on it, and the child have to pay? It's possible. Okay, it depends. Depends on the facts. Okay. Um, we often talk to, because our clients are generally elderly. It's not unusual for our clients to pass on, and if the kids have questions, they're welcome to call us, and we'll go over it with them and answer their questions. So this person calls us. They said they write, I would like to follow up with starting the program, the process for debt collector. I'm ready to join. Retired from local government employment, state of Illinois. My only income is a monthly pension check, which is protected. So this guy contacted us. We'll call him back. When people call us, we ask them a series of questions, um, like where they live, if they're married, their age, things we need to know to be able to give you good information. Are you buying a home? Are you renting? If you're buying a home, how much do you owe on the home? What's it worth? What do you owe? Are you buying a car? Do you own a car? Have you been sued? Do you owe any income taxes? Do you owe any student loans? Things that we can help. We're going to ask you these questions. And then we're going to read you a script that describes what we do. And we're going to ask you if you have any more questions, and then we're going to summarize things up, and we'll save this information, and then we'll explain how you can join helps. You can join helps if you decide to enroll in helps. You can do that over the phone, but you might call us 2 or 3 or 4 times before you decide to enroll. We encourage you to look at our videos. Okay, we got videos here, and then we got them on our regular page. We also have senior living, and you can spend a lot of time on our web page as well. Sound is breaking up. I don't want to hear that. Please be that your problem, not mine. I want to make sure that the sound is okay. Okay. Next question is, this person contacts us from Georgia. I'm a senior on disability with past debts on my credit report that make it impossible to rent an apartment. My Social Security payments, I can't rent an apartment or a house. The problem is a mess or something. Is there anything you can do to help me? Okay. Please tell me you can hear me okay. Robert says he sounds breaking up. I'd like to know if you can hear me. So this person has a question about renting. Okay, and when helps was started back in 2012, a lot of our clients, and a lot of seniors even today, they really don't care about their credit being, they're not worried about their credit. A lot of them can't afford to credit. When they enroll in helps, we send letters to their collectors they owe money to. One thing we do tell our clients that do enroll, if you have a credit card with a small balance or nothing is owed that you still want to keep, you could still keep that credit card as long as it's not backed by a bank. It's not backed by a bank with whom you have another account that you're not going to pay. So we started we did a letter, and we make this available to anyone. We call it a prospective landlord letter. So I'm going to show you a copy of this letter. There it is here. Of course, we fill it out, and we'll send this to anyone that needs it, whether a member of helps or not. And I'll read the letter to you. Dear prospective landlord, we send it to our client, and what we tell you to do is to show it to a prospective landlord, okay, before you pay the application fee. And I'll read it, and then we'll talk about how this could help. Dear prospective landlord, your name, we put your name in there, has requested that we provide you with some information about their legally protected income. We provide this letter to prospective landlords to address potential concerns and help avoid unnecessary application fees in cases where credit issues might lead to an automatic denial. Your name receives income from the Social Security Administration and or a pension fund. Federal and state laws safeguard these income sources, ensuring they are fully protected and cannot be garnished to satisfy any debt judgment. To reassure prospective landlords, all of your name income is secure and available for essential needs, including housing, utilities, food, and medicine. Past debt should not pose a concern regarding your name's ability to meet rental obligations. If necessary, your name is prepared to provide documentation verifying their income sources. Thank you for your time and consideration of your name as prospective tenants. Please feel free to contact us with any questions or for additional information. Looks like one of our attorneys changed that letter around. I like this version better. Okay. See, prospective landlords, a lot of them don't understand that your income's protected. And, if it was a younger person, you could be sued and garnished and you might have difficult paying rent, but not for a senior. And so what we want these landlords to understand is that you're different. And if there's some negative impacts on your credit, we don't want that to be taken into consideration when they decide to rent to you. Now, they may have policies that are in place that the person taking your application will tell you about, and you could save your application fee. But we'll give this to anyone that needs it. Now, if you do want to rebuild your credit, we do have a program with 720 credit score, and you can rebuild your credit within a year, 1 to 2 years. Okay. Phil Tyrone has that program, and we pay him money each month. And if you've been part of Helps for at least 90 days, you can enroll in that program. It won't cost you anything to rebuild your credit. So I just wanted to let you know about that prospective landlord letter. And you don't have to be a member of Helps for us to send you that. Anyone, we'll get that to anyone that needs it. Okay. Okay, this one is someone that wrote in on one of our videos, either with Senior Living or with RU Video, and they said, I'm with Guardian Litigation for the past 3 months, and I am paying them a fee of $605 for past due credit cards. They have not really come up with an agreement with them. What can I do? Please let me know what I can do, what I can get done. So here's my reply. Okay, my reply is this. There are a lot of debt settlement companies or debt management companies, including nonprofit companies and law firms, giving advice to persons who receive Social Security and pensions that weren't told that their income was safe and protected. If you're with a debt management company or someone is helping you pay your debt and you're a senior getting Social Security or a pension, and they never told you that your income was protected, in my opinion, you were being scammed. Because if they would have told you that your income was protected and that you didn't need to pay this debt, and there was a means to stop the creditors from harassing you, then you could have made the decision, maybe I don't need to pay this company. Maybe I don't need to pay this debt. Why do they withhold this information from you? Because if they told you that, you wouldn't enroll with them and they wouldn't make money off you. It's my experience with few exceptions, debt management companies and debt settlement companies don't tell seniors that their income is protected. And many of them put seniors into utter poverty, making payments for past due debt that the senior doesn't need to pay. Okay? And I talk about this a lot, and if you're a regular listener, you may get tired of listening to me. Okay? Say this. But then some people like to hear it again. But but gosh, if you're first time listening to me and you're paying $500 to a debt management company, and all of a sudden you realize, wow, I don't need to be paying $500 a month. I'm glad I heard that information. Okay? Miss H has lots of questions always, which is nice. She says, will it be better to owe a bank or the IRS? I don't want to owe neither of them, but it would be good to know. I guess it doesn't matter. You don't need to worry about either one of them. Okay? If you owe money to your bank and to a bank and your money is and your income is Social Security and pension disability, you don't have to pay it. If they were to sue you, get a judgment, your income's protected. It's protected in your bank account. Now, what about the IRS? Well, okay. The IRS has a program called currently not collectible status, CNC status. And if you have income, if you're lower income, modest income senior, um, or any age any age for that matter, you can qualify for get on what's currently not collectible status and not have to pay the IRS. Now, if you're senior, once you get on that, you're probably going to be on that forever. How much can you make and get on currently not collectible status? Well, around $2,500 or less, and even a little bit more depending on where you live. For a single person, $3,500, maybe a little bit more or less if you're a couple. Yeah, you can get on currently not collectible status. Now, what if you don't pay the IRS taxes? Are they going to do anything? Well, maybe. The most they would probably do is send you a letter saying after 60 days they intend to offset 15% of your Social Security. But you may never get that letter. But if you got that letter, that would give you time to apply for currently not collectible status. We have a letter that we send to our clients or other persons explaining how you can get on currently not collectible status with the IRS. It's not that difficult. The lower income you are, the easier it is. You call them on the phone, be on the phone for a hold for an hour and a half. They pick up the phone and go over your budget with them and explain why you can't afford to pay it. And we have an email that explains, that gives you the details on how to do that. Dottie asked, do you receive a membership card with an account number from Helps? I believe you mentioned that you can add a creditor to start and others later. Is that correct? I never thought about a membership card. No, we don't give membership cards out. Might not be a bad idea, Dottie. And we don't have an account number. We just go by your last name, by your first and last name. And you know, when we enroll people, or when people call in, we ask your first and last name. But when you decide to enroll, we're going to ask for your middle initial, and that's how we can identify you. We've got thousands of clients, so we just identify you by your name. And of course, we've got information with your phone number and the city and state where you live. And we have an account number. Yes, we do have account numbers, but we don't provide those to our clients. You don't need that. Okay. It's something internally that we have. If we just ask your name and we can find you in our system. We're pretty tech savvy here. I'm not that great at tech, but I have people that help that are incredibly wonderful at tech. Okay. When it comes to lower income seniors and modest income seniors, yeah, we are much better than AARP. Okay. AARP is great for seniors half the seniors that have lots of money, but if you're lower income, most of our clients, they're not involved with AARP. Okay. I called for non-collectible and they discouraged me from doing so, saying the bill would keep growing. Who discouraged you? IRS? I kind of doubt it. Maybe someone else did. They didn't know what they were doing, but no. We've got videos on helps on qualifying for currently not collectible status. Who told you? Okay, you say the bill would keep growing. Well, okay, it grows, but IRS isn't going to do anything. If you're on currently not collectible, you don't have to pay it, and then after 10 years, the tax goes away. Okay, IRS was only 10 years to collect the tax, and then it's gone. But if you're on Social Security or pension and stuff, and you get on currently not collectible status, no reason why you would ever need to pay it. Okay. So this person contacts us from Georgia, and they say, I need some help. Well, that's what we're here for. Helps. It's a great name. I got to admit it. Help eliminate legal problems for seniors. helps. So this guy says, this is literally what he wrote in to us. I need some help. I'm 68 years old. I'm overwhelmed by credit card debt. Let me see here. What is happening is that I have been using cash advances from some of my credit cards to pay the monthly payments on others to maintain a credit score of around 650. And then he ends it by saying, help! Exclamation point 2 times. So if you've heard me before, I'll describe what he's doing is he's digging a hole and digging it deeper. And he's borrowing money from the credit cards and throwing it out of the hole. And now he's at the bottom of the hole. And he's throwing trying to throw the dirt out. Well, the hole's too deep and the dirt keeps crumbling in on it, trying to maintain things. So we can help him. We're going to tell you can stop paying the credit card debt. You don't need to worry about the credit score. I mean, you don't have any choice. Okay. And you can turn the credit cards into helps. We'll send them a cease and desist letter. They'll leave you alone. And if you really want to get your credit back, you can do that. Okay. Your credit is based on your recent credit history. So we have helps that get their credit. We have, 7 steps to a 720 credit score for clients. But, a lot of our clients, they don't want anything to do with the credit anymore. Or if they they might have 1 or 2 credit cards with small balances and they decide to keep those. And as long as you don't have a credit card that's backed by the same bank that banks those that you want to keep, and that you're not going to pay, then you would keep those credit cards. Okay. When I called on the phone, well, that's a new one to me, Farmhouse. If you qualify for currently not collectible status, yeah, that's not a very good answer for them to say. I don't normally hear that. You don't need to pay it. Maybe I make too much. Maybe. You can always call and go over that with helps. Maybe I will reapply. I have a current agreement for $40 a month. We talk to a number of our clients that call in that have an agreement with IRS, and their income is really low. And I'll tell them, well, you don't have to keep paying that IRS payment. Maybe, by paying that $40 a month might be better for you to use for your food and your medicine and your utilities. There's a reason why the law allows seniors to be put on currently not collectible status because, our lawmakers don't want you to go without. If you go without and you don't take your medicines and then you get sick, then it costs society more. So no, currently not collectible status. There's no shame on getting on currently not collectible status. Now, certainly, if you can afford to pay the tax, you should. But if you can't afford it, you don't need to worry about it. You get on currently not collectible status. Joyce says, boy, does that sound familiar. I've been digging a hole and digging it deeper. I've been there, done that. Thanks so much, helps. Yeah, no, I know that. I know that. I know. So you can stop digging the hole. And you're going to feel a lot better. And the nice thing about helps, you'll realize you don't need to worry. And you can always call us with your questions. Okay. This person calls us. It says, my wife and I live on our Social Security only, no other income. Our 1 vehicle is paid off and our home is paid off. Our only debts are credit cards and a small amount of medical debt. The credit cards were how we survived most of the time within the past 4 years. Then the interest became so high, sky high, and I could not catch up. We use most of our Social Security checks to pay the monthly credit card bills. And most of the time, nothing is left over. Yeah, he's digging the hole and digging it deeper. If we were not able to pay the credit card bills any longer, can they come after our home and truck along with any other items? We have only one bank account, and that's a checking account where the Social Security goes. We are both in our 70s and um, restrain on any extra spending. Thank you. So he's worried about his home and his truck. We'll talk about the truck first. So the truck's paid for. Um, so first off, every state has exemption laws that protect a certain amount of equity in property. For example, a certain amount of equity in the car. And it varies from state to state. You know, some states have generous exemptions. Some states have less generous exemptions. Uh, but I'm 74, attorney for 46 years, the founder of Helps, 30 to 40,000 bankruptcies. It is not the practice of consumer judgment creditors like a credit card if they sued you and got a judgment to go after your car if you had equity in the car over and above the exemption. Let's say you had a car that was $10,000 free and clear. Uh, it was worth 10,000 and the state exemption is 5,000. So you have 5,000 equity in the car. Are they going to come after your car if MasterCard gets a judgment against you for $5,000? No, they're not going to come after your car. Now, is it legally possible? Yeah, it's also legally possible you could drive to Circle K on Friday night and get hit by a drunk driver at 10:07 p.m. while you're going to get a Slurpee. Do you worry about that? No, because is it going to happen? No. Do you worry about walking outside and get hit by a bolt of lightning? Is it theoretically possible? Yeah. Do you know anyone who's been hit by a bolt of lightning? No. Is that going to happen? Do you worry about that? No. No, it's not going to happen. Okay. Um, you could envision a scenario where it's possible, but it's so remote it's not worth talking about and getting people worried about it when it's never going to happen. What about a home? It's essentially the same thing on a home. Then there's a lot of states that protect all the equity in your home. Or if you own the home together, maybe the judgment's just against one of you. There's a lot of reasons why judgment creditors don't go after non-exempt property. Now they will try to, you know, maybe try to garnish your bank account, but I've already explained how that's protected. And then even that'd be rare. They have to know where you bank. And that's not easy. As long as you keep it less than twice the amount of your federal benefits in there, it's protected. They can't take anything. Okay? What else is he worried about here? So, we're going to call this guy back. They're going to be happy when they talk to us. They're going to say, you don't have to pay those credit cards anymore. Worry about that interest. All that Social Security is going to be for you to live on, to pay the property taxes, to pay the light bill, the water bill, garbage bill, medicine, food. Don't worry about the credit cards. Now, if they have a little credit card with a small balance, they could keep that credit card. Okay, just keep current on it and use it once in a while, and no reason why you wouldn't keep that credit card. As long as it's not backed, that credit card isn't backed by a bank with whom you have another credit card you're not going to pay, you could keep that other credit card. And then when you enroll in Helps, we'll send a letter out to your debt collectors telling them that you can't pay the debt and they're going to leave you alone. And then you can always call us with your questions. That's what we're here for. Oh, Brian asked, some bill collector called me from Charlotte yesterday with pre-recorded message threatening legal action. I knew who it was. I sent it to Helps. Pat asks, can I sell my car and buy another without worrying about shielding the transaction from creditors? Sure. Yeah. Once in a while I'll talk to a client. Maybe they have really meager income. Maybe they got a car that's worth easily $10,000 and they got a $400 car payment and their income is $1,500, let's say. But the car's worth $10,000, but they only owe $5,000 on it. I mean, theoretically, if they were able to sell the car and come up with $5,000 or a little bit less, might be easier for them to buy a car that's worth for $5,000, okay, or $4,000 or something less. And then they don't have a car payment anymore, okay. And it's not like they're driving across the country. You can get on and Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, type in runs good, and you can find a car normally for anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000. It may be an older car. It may have some miles on it. That could be a Honda or a Toyota, and they a lot of times they last forever, from an owner who says that the car runs good. And now you don't have a car payment anymore. It can, it's not a bad idea to do. If you have a $400 car payment and all you're doing is going to the store once a week, wow, that's an expensive ride. Now, if you're upside down on the car, you don't have to keep it. You can let it go back. Okay. Uh, some of our clients call us, and they just simply can't afford the car anymore. You can stop making the payment and let it go back. Eventually, the lender's going to sell the car. You're going to get a letter in the mail saying how much you owe. It's a deficiency notice. You're going to give that to helps. We're going to send a cease and desist letter to the lender. They're going to leave you alone. You don't need to worry about that extra money you owe on the car. When your credit card bills are being sent by email and not by postal mail, then it's uh, sold to another collector. Uh, how do we get that to helps? For the Yeah, I don't care how you get us who you owe money to. Uh, we do normally what we need is a name, address, and hopefully an account number. Okay, from a new debt collector. Now, if you got a phone call from a new debt collector, we can't really send a letter with just a phone number. But you don't necessarily need to call them back to get the name and address. Okay. If you get something in writing, or if you happen to get their name later on, and then you give it to us then at that time. Okay. Junky older cars have cheaper insurance. I know because I got a clunker. You're right. You're right. I've helped so many people, kids and friends, and even me myself have bought older cars for not a lot of money. In fact, the last car I, well, 2 cars ago, I bought I think it was an '04 Nissan Xterra. No, what was it? I don't know what it was. It's Anyway, um, ended up giving it to my granddaughter. Actually, I sold it to my granddaughter. She was older, and I gave it for not a lot of money. I just I had to be fair with my other grandkids. And it was a great car. I had it for 3 years, and I bought it on Craigslist. And it was advertised by an owner as runs good, and it ran great. Okay, and so I only had to have liability insurance. I didn't have to have comprehensive and collision. So my insurance was low on it, and it'll probably last my granddaughter for a long time. Okay. Um, in fact, I bought my nephew. Me and my two brothers bought my nephew. He was on a mission for his church, and he came back, and this must have been 20 years ago. I bought him an old Chevy Love pickup for about $2,000. He drove that thing for 15 years. Okay, and and it's still parked at my old house, and it still runs. It's old cars. You get if it runs good. A lot of times they could just last forever. So so J. Paul loves it. Always wants why you can't have 80 people watching and only one half the amount of likes. Well, I'll tell you why. Um, we're seniors. Some of us don't know how to press the like button. Okay, and I don't mind. Yeah, it's down there somewhere. You can press the like button. That's why. But I'm waiting until there's 800 of us watching every day. But a lot of times, this is YouTube Live, which a lot of us watch it later. So I don't mind. Old cars are like wine and cheese. They get better with age. That's so true. I don't drink wine, but that's what they say, right? Uh, I received an email from Portfolio Recovery and told them that we only have my wife's Social Security and to cease and desist. Good. Okay. So this person contacted us from Oklahoma. I think this is notes from one of my staff. They're 85 years old. And she says, we helped both of her previous husbands. So she must have been married, got married again, and we helped her husbands. That helps. Of course, we've been around for 12 years now. Let me see. Uh, uh, almost 13 years. Okay. So anyway, or 13 years. Um, and then she called again, unable to pay her own debts at this time. Now she's in trouble and has about 17,000 in debt. Tried to go to a debt relief company, but they haven't done anything to help her in the year since she's been with them. She's been with them for a year. I don't know how much she's been paying them. I hate to think about it. She's working on canceling with them now. She's familiar with the program, so would like to enroll and wants a separate account from her existing husband. Okay. Normally, it's our practice if we enroll one spouse and the other one doesn't want to be a part of helps, if they later decide, we can just join them with the husband or the wife. There's not an extra fee. We probably did that with this person. But what galls me is she was 85 years old and paying to a debt management company. And I didn't talk to her, but I could almost guarantee you that they never told her that her income was protected and she didn't need to enroll with them. Instead, they took her money and made things difficult for her. That's why I get so irritated at these companies. Now that some of them will tell a senior that their income is protected, but a lot of them won't. If you stop paying on a personal loan that has been receiving payments from your checking account, do you have to close that account to be safe? No. If you no, if you pay a check to them or you pay them yourself, no. Now, if you pay them automatically, you can stop the payment with your bank or with them, and they're not going to take the money, and they're not legally allowed. So you don't need to change to a different bank account. So if someone were to sue you and get a judgment, remember twice the amount of your Social Security or federal benefits deposited in your bank account is protected automatically by your bank from garnishment, regardless of what funds are in there or where they came from. Will telling the bank not to allow payment to creditor be sufficient? Yeah, you can. If it's a credit card company, you just call them on the phone or do it online, and they'll stop the automatic payment. Now, if it's a payday loan place or a high interest lender, yeah, you're going to have to do a stop payment. And um, if it's a payday loan place, sometimes they try to get at your money later. Banks are pretty careful. If you put a stop payment, they're pretty careful not to let it happen again. We have emails that you can call us and we can send you an email about that and how that's done. Um, how well do the do not call list stop the harassing phone calls from creditors? Adding your phone number, does it really do anything to stop that? Well, yeah, if it, I think it does. Absolutely. That's the law. That a debt collector can be sued if they continue to call or send demand letters after you've told them, after they've got a cease and desist letter. Okay. So here's another person contacts us from Oregon, and they were 80 years old, and says they started working with some debt consolidation company that wasn't doing what they promised. She says she thinks she canceled, but she's not sure. She canceled the payments, went to a different bank. We enrolled her, but I I get I just hate it when I see 80-year-old people enrolling with debt management. And I know these people that enroll them, they maybe the guy that's doing the actual enrolling doesn't realize it, but the uppity ups know it. They know their person's income's protected, and they don't educate their staff to tell these old people that. And I'm old, so I mean they don't tell them that their income is protected. It's kind of really shameful. Yeah. So this person calls us from Illinois. I'm returning the call from yesterday's conversation. I would like to start. I would like to follow up with starting the program process for debt collector communication. So, and it says, I briefly discussed yesterday, but did not have my payment method on hand. I am currently available today with that information. Would like to start service as soon as possible. I'm retired, living in the state of Illinois. My only income is monthly pension check. So, when I saw this email, I sent an email to our staff, to our intake persons at Helps, and I said, if someone calls us and they want to enroll in Helps and they don't happen to have their debit card with them, most people that enroll in Helps, uh, they pay by debit card. Okay, those that pay, and the payment won't begin until 30 or 60 days in the future. Okay, so let's say, for example, a person got paid on the second Wednesday of the month, and today is the 18th. So if someone enrolled today, it helps. Their payment wouldn't begin till It wouldn't begin on July 15th. It would begin on August 15th. The 15th would always be after the second Wednesday of the month. And we always want to make sure they have a minimum of 30 days without having to be worried about paying helps. And then to enroll people, normally all we need is a debit card name, number, and expiration date. We click a button, you get it. We keep you on the phone. You get an email from Helps confirming you're a member of Helps immediately. Has all our contact information, address, phone number, email addresses, and gives instructions how to get us the collectors. So if someone calls and they want to enroll in Helps, or normally if you don't happen to have your debit card, or if you're changing to a new bank, we can still enroll you right then. And you just get us the debit card information later. But why is that? Well, because we want to protect you as soon as we can. We don't want you being harassed by these creditors. Oh, yeah. I'm 68. Scott says, Hurricane Fred cost me my retirement money to sort. Now Hurricane Helene has taken it all but the walls. Mortgage company being difficult. Is this when I call you guys? Uh, you can call us whenever, before, during, or after the problem. Okay. If we have 5 people, Scott, maybe one is being sued, maybe 3 or 4 are behind and being harassed, and 1 out of 5 is completely current on everything, but they can see the writing on the wall. Doesn't matter where you are. And we'll go over your situation. We don't just stop debt collectors from harassing you. We give you legal information about a lot of other things, like, maybe you got a timeshare. You don't need to pay the timeshare. Uh, maybe you got a car payment you can't afford anymore. We talked to you about that. You don't have to pay the car payment. Let it go back. Okay. Maybe you've got a house and you can't afford the house payment. You got a lot of equity. We'll maybe talk to you about looking at possibly a reverse mortgage. We don't sell them, but we give people information about things you don't normally think of. If you've been sued, we're going to tell you why you don't need to worry about the lawsuit. Maybe how you can protect your home for your children. We give a lot of information to seniors on different topics. I mean, we've got probably 400 or 500 preloaded emails on about every single topic you could imagine. And I remember for the first 10 years of Helps, I was doing an email 2 or 3 times a week, one of these preloaded emails. I don't do too many anymore because we got most of the topics covered already. Now we try to refine those, the old ones, but no, we've got topics on all kinds of things. What if you're buying furniture? All you name it. I'm having problems with my landlord. I mean, and then all the main topics. Why your bank account is protected. I mean, you call us. We've got an email that covers your topic. Okay. Diane says, it's easier to change banks because if a bank ties your funds in air, a bit of a problem. Well, they normally don't, Diane. This rule that protects twice the amount of your federal benefits in your bank account has been in effect since 2012. And the first few years, there was some problems. There was problems with credit unions for a long time. But not very often now. Maybe once or twice a year, and is there a problem with a credit union? And then we get that straightened out. I'm talking about the fact that your bank or credit union, they get rid of garnishment, they look at your account, they can determine it came from a federal source, and they automatically protect twice the monthly amount from garnishment. Is unemployment income protected? I'm getting 160 week. Yeah, it should be protected under state law. Okay. Not on a federal law. I suppose there might be a state where unemployment isn't protected, but I'm not aware of that. So this is a comment on one of our senior living videos. What age constitutes a senior? I'm retired and live off my pension, 401(b), 401k, and other investment, but I'm only 60. Am I covered? And if not, when does it kick in? That's his first question. Second question is, if you own a home, can they come after it? The third question, I gather if I keep a lot of money in the bank account, I should move it, correct? Well, I think I've answered all those questions already on this video, haven't I? I think I did. Your retirement is income is protected. It doesn't matter your age. We've got people in their 40s, 50s, even 30s in Helps that are getting Social Security disability. And they're not going to come after your home. Okay. So this is another comment. And I just wrote this comment down. I thought I'd read it to you because I kind of like it. Well, I don't like it, but I like it. But it says, they listened to our video, and this is what this person said. I wish I'd known all of this when my cheating and swindling father died deep in debt decades ago. She puts cheating and swindling in parentheses. Died deep in debt decades ago, and my mother went broke paying his debt. Oh, yeah. And again, when my mother started having new health issues and struggled to keep up with the medical debt, and Medicare did not cover. This video randomly popped up on my recommended feed just now, and I can't help but wonder why this information is not outwardly provided to all seniors. So this is what I answered. I think I did this morning. I said, good question. Here is the answer. Creditors almost purposefully hide this information from seniors, as do many debt management and debt settlement companies, even the nonprofit companies. If seniors knew this information, they would realize their income is protected and they could use it for their basic needs, and these companies wouldn't make money. I'm a little bit cynical. I can't help it. I've talked to too many people that have talked, too many seniors that have been just taken advantage of. There's exceptions, but I even read the articles on the internet, and they'll talk about everything, but they'll leave out the fact, well, by the way, your Social Security and your pension is protected. You could choose not to pay the debt if you don't want to. And there's a law passed in 1978 called the Fair Debt Collection Practice that stopped the creditors from harassing you. Do they ever mention that? Rarely. Some articles do, but not a lot of them don't. Most of them don't. Okay. Pat says, say I sell my car for 5,000, I need to buy another. How do I shield the proceeds from judgment? Well, someone from judgment collection. First off, someone would have to have sued you and gotten a judgment, and they have to know where your bank. Second thing is, if they've sued you and they have a judgment, you're worried about it, you can just keep the 5,000 in cash, or you can put it on preloaded debit cards, or you can put it in cashier's check or postal money orders. No one can get at those. Okay. So Paul says, why do you emphasize seniors? What about other federal incomes? Well, because 98% of our clients are seniors. That's why. Uh, but our name is Help Eliminate Legal Problems for Seniors and Disabled Persons. So if you get disability income and you're under, and you're not a senior, you can be part of HELPS. Okay. But the problem, and I think I shared this with you before, some guy asked me on a comment, he says, why don't you say you help younger people as well? And I said, well, on the topic, the title could be too long. How to resolve problems for seniors and disabled and younger persons under such, I could go on and on and on. So we cut it short, but I always try to emphasize that it doesn't matter. It's the source of the income. Yeah, like SSI, Social Security, disability, regardless of your age, it's protected. I don't know if intelligence, but it is experience. I've been doing this for a long time. Katrina, I didn't want you to ask that question. It's a federal holiday. Are you going to do a show? Well, I guess we're going to have to find out. Our office may be closed down. I've turned over management of the office to someone else, another attorney here at Helps, and they make that decision. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a holiday for Helps. I still may do the YouTube video. I don't know. I may still answer some phone calls. I don't know. But if it is a federal holiday, it's probably likely that we're not going to be open tomorrow. How to help protect people with federal income? No, because you can get a pension from a private pension. It's protected. Okay. It doesn't have to be federal. It can be private. Pensions are protected. Is it already an hour? Oh my gosh. I can't believe it. It's been an hour. Time flies with you guys. I really appreciate your support. Please share what Helps does with others. If you're new and you press the like button, subscribe to our channel, If you have any questions, be sure and call us. Toll free 855-435-7787. And we're going to answer your questions. God bless. Have a great day.